This year is the 5th annual Philadelphia Podcast Festival, and I could not be happier to be bringing Everything Is Awesome back for the 2nd year in a row. That's right, Everything Is Awesome Late Night comes back to the Philadelphia Podcast Fest at Tattooed Moms on Sunday, July 16th from 2 to 3 p.m., and it's going to be so much fun. We have Noah Houlihan on hand to talk about Plus 2 comedy, Game the Gamer. We have Brian Durkin to bring the funny. He's going to tell some jokes. We're going to talk podcasting, full belly laughs, and much, much more. Mike and I will be on hand to talk many things, play games. It's going to be just so much fun. Make sure you make your way out to the 5th annual Philadelphia Podcast Festival, especially from 2 to 3 at Tattooed Moms, so you can see Everything Is Awesome Late Night live.
Everything Is Awesome is part of Courts and Parts, a podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows, like TV Ate My Brain, Let's Chat with Revelin Friends, and Podstalgic at courtsandparts.com.
Awesome. Just tell people they're awesome and mean it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome.
Did you have an awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
Awesome. 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 That was awesome. You guys are awesome.
No.
You're awesome. You are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything Is Awesome. I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. We are, I don't know, because I'm recording these way out of order. I don't know when these are getting released, but we're in the midst of our Philadelphia Podcast Fest celebration, promotion, whatever you want to call it. Last year, we, as I've probably said numerous times, we limited ourselves to 2 episodes a week the month leading up to the Philadelphia Podcast Fest. This year, I want to interview every single show. We'll see if I can make it happen. So we'll be probably releasing, 3 of these episodes a week, if not more. So if you guys get tired of my voice pretty quickly after an hour, I apologize, because it's going to be a whole lot of Kev for the next month and a half. This week, we have fellow, I'm saying fellow because we're sharing the same weekend, fellow Tattooed Mom venue podcasters for the Philadelphia Podcast Fest. They are a 2-man team, and as everyone knows, that's pretty much all the information I have, because some would say terrible host. I would say I enjoy being, spontaneous. Please welcome to the show the hosts of the weekly Top 6 podcast, Michael and Adam. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, man. What's
Hell
up?
yeah, welcome me. Here I am.
So how are you guys doing? What's it like? Have you guys done a live show before? Have you guys done the? You didn't do the Podcast Fest last year, right?
No,
Nope.
We did not. We're
only a few months in.
We're only a few months in. We're relatively new. I just moved back to Philadelphia after being away for about 10 years, actually. So it's only been since March that we've actually done this.
So we've done 14 episodes, and we do it every single week. So we're only a few months in here.
We just recorded our 15th actually, right before this.
Oh, nice.
But steadily growing, and happy to be part of the festival.
So is this your guys' first experience with doing a podcast?
Yes,
it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've never done anything, and it's basically we just jumped headfirst into it, and
Yeah, we had the idea for it. We've been friends for quite a while. Adam and I have been friends for many, many years, but not living in the same state. And when I had decided I was going to move back, we had kind of kicked around a few ideas for a show, and came up with the one we have. We're basically, again, it's your weekly top 6, and it's basically us taking a random topic every week, kind of spanning some type of a cross section of the experience of that is life, basically, and just kind of hashing out our picks and just berating each other in the process,
right.
Basically.
I see, and I like that. That's I hate Reddit when it comes to communities because
Tell me more.
so I've been doing this podcasting in general for about 10 years. I started out with a show like June 27th, I think, of 2007.
Wow.
So this June marks like my 10-year anniversary, like just being involved as a host or producer or everything, whatever it may be. Yeah. And so when I would say before I started this show, Everything Is Awesome, I didn't really like seek out a podcasting community. I didn't really think that one existed because as a guy who started in 2007, really it was a very small community as far as like listeners were concerned. Like there was no meetups back then.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And I want to say probably about 5 years ago, I found like Reddit podcast groups, and I was like, oh, well, that makes sense because it's Reddit. And my God, like I come from the world of Kevin Smith, where like everything's sunshine and roses. He tells everyone to go out there and make a podcast because everyone has a voice, everyone has a story. I love, not many things do I find that I actually like. Well, I hate that. Like I hate that. Yeah. Whatever the show or movie is, I try to find a positive spin on it. So like, people would go into these Reddit groups and say, we want to start a show where it's just me and my buddy talking, and the dude get killed in Reddit because like everyone's like, well, everyone does that show. What makes you special? It's a stupid idea. And like, and for me, not taking out like I find positivity in everything. Sure. I actually like that. Like that's my like two friends sitting around talking, and you guys have a little bit more like you have a theme with it at least.
Yeah. So basically we have like I said, been friends for a decade now, and we kind of had a group of friends, and we would go out and just absolutely dominate the conversations when we were out. Just like Michael and I would just we have opinions and we're being loud and just like just like cower over the rest of our friends. So and it like actually like isolated us, and which I don't mind. I mean, I don't care. I hate most people anyway. But that being said, like we just found this to be a good outlet for us to basically like talk our faces off at one another. Yeah,
it's basically been like our friends have known us for a while, and like Adam said, we've basically kind of dominated most of those conversations. So now it's like, well, why don't we have these conversations with everyone else, basically?
We have a captive audience, somebody who can't say no.
That's right.
It's my favorite type of person.
So now we can just put it all out there and allow everybody else to kind of join in. And so far so good, man.
And I'm telling you, like that for me is, and probably because I got my start listening to Smodcast, which was, Kevin Smith, Scott Mosier, two best friends sitting around talking. So like that's the type of show I really enjoy, where it's kind of, just a random conversation every week or whatever. So.
And similar to ours too. Like we have topics, that kind of lay out like a general kind of discussion we're going to have. Where again, we kind of go through picks on a list, and again, kind of give our reasons why. But it's really just kind of allowing for just kind of the natural banter that just comes with just talking about stuff.
It's structured. It's a highly structured podcast, but in no way, shape, or form do we have any sort of like script or anything. Like we do everything almost in one take. We just go back and forth, and what comes out comes out.
Yeah, and it's it's meant to be structured in a way so that when you listen to the show, you sort of know at least what you're going to get. You're going to get these guys introducing a topic, kind of why they're getting into it, the rules for how they're going to go about debating, and then just getting into it. As opposed to just kind of being completely kind of nebulous and random, which some podcasts are more than others, and kind of depending upon how engaging the actual people are, can kind of be tedious.
Yeah, that's the nicest way of putting that.
Thanks. I was trying to be as diplomatic as possible with that.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you take this idea you have for your show, even with it having like a theme to it, where it doesn't sound like your run of the mill two best friends talking. Reddit like destroys you about it. And that was something when I was developing this show, I was like, well, I want to do like a show about podcasts. And it wasn't even called Everything Is Awesome at the time. I was just going to do a show about podcasts. I don't know what the title, I forget what the title was, but it was going to be me talking to other podcasters. And I was worried that like, I'm going to talk to like 5 friends and then run out of like guests.
Sure.
And that's when like I kind of, as I was developing this show, discovered the Philadelphia Podcasting Society and kind of like embraced that, which led me to embracing like just the podcasting community as a whole. And like as long as it's outside of Reddit, it's amazing how friendly. I haven't met one podcaster that I could sit down and say, well, he's an asshole.
Yeah. I'm not, like I honestly, like I don't really necessarily care about other people's opinions on our like topics and stuff like that. Like I care about Michael's feedback. I care about my own. Yeah. Like I'm not really interested in hearing somebody else who may, we have met a few people that like are thoroughly just straight up jealous of us having a podcast and like just be critical of us for those reasons.
Yeah, I mean it's we kind of are just interested in doing the show to do the show basically, right. And it's kind of it's what we want it to be, and you're going to get opinions across the board, and most people. Especially on something like Reddit, which is, it's self-selecting for certain kinds of opinions, right? Like people aren't going to write anything unless they either have an opinion that skews completely one way or the other. So, I mean, you can't really take, any of those really. You can't, anybody that's going to just, tell you you're the greatest thing in the fucking world. They're just as worthless to listen to as the people that, again, are just going to hate you just to hate, basically.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But I will take those people every day of the week because I need that ego stroke.
Man, get to know me, man. Mine's I'm probably stroking mine more most of the others.
But so before you guys decided to start a podcast, I assume that I find it. I don't think I found a podcaster who wasn't a fan first. Where did you guys originate with your podcast? Like where did it start so that it led to like, hey, let's start one of these?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a great question.
That is a good question. Yeah,
I rarely until we started. I rarely listened to podcasts, and when I did, they were nothing like this.
Yeah, the ones I'll be honest, the ones I'd mostly listened to were more in the sports realm.
Yeah, like fantasy baseball.
Yeah, Bill Simmons show
his interview. Right.
Yeah, before it just went to utter hell. Which is probably years ago, but Simmons show.
I listen to Crossing Broadcast at this point, but even that, in terms of influencing me on doing this, it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's shows I liked, nothing that was trying to kind of full on emulate or that I listened to and thought yes, I want to do this. Other than just that the idea of the construct of podcasts were out there. I mean, shows like Simmons show, Corolla show.
Corolla show is really good.
Yeah,
we listen to that. Right,
particularly Reasonable Doubt that he does with Garrigus.
Oh, that the John Henry. What's the John the mustache guy from the. Judge John Hodgman.
Yeah, Judge John Hodgman. Yeah. But yeah, shows like that, like How Did This Get Made? I mean, they're all great shows. But I don't think any of them kind of made me think yes, I want to do this. It was more just kind of that the construct of a podcast was out there, and it was just we like this forum, and it's a forum for us to actually still be able to talk about the stuff that we want to talk about. So why not why not do it? Why not bring everybody in?
Well, and that's something that it's almost like indirectly, you not indirectly, but it's almost like you heard but didn't hear someone say do a podcast, because that's for me, I don't think you can have too many podcasts, even if it's too many best friend podcasts or too many interview shows. I mean, I have my show is a show it's stacked against itself because there's a million of these shows that this is one guy sitting around talking to people. So there's nothing really that makes my show special except for the fact that I some would say lazy. I would say I like an honest conversation.
Yeah,
so doing no prep allows me to do that.
Yeah.
That also comes from doing 10 years of prep.
Yeah, you're seasoned, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and what I like is that you guys are already past 10 episodes, and that's huge for a podcaster.
Is it?
I
think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Yeah, I guess.
It is. I'll tell you, I have over the last year, I was reading a couple stats about podcasting because I'm much more interested in the that kind of stat versus a listener stat, because for 8 years of me podcasting, I worried about the listener number and I stressed about it, and it affected me creatively. Like it affected the art that I was doing. It's in the course of 10 years, I've hosted or created or been part of probably about 13 or 14 different podcasts. Yeah. So like, and it's always because I was chasing that number. I was chasing a way to find a way to make money, which is like the complete opposite of what I think you should be doing when you do a podcast now. Like I go into it now and it's all about just me having fun and me enjoying what I'm doing and me being creatively fulfilled. Yeah. And so stats like, out of all the podcasts that start up, about 50% of them hit 10 episodes. Wow. So that's huge that you even do that. In all
seriousness, I think that for us, like us coming up with the discipline of making sure that we released an episode every single week, every single Tuesday, it kind of gave us an obligation to one another to doing it. Yeah. Like that was really critical to us. We have pretty structured lives, both of us, just in terms of like we live in the same place. There's just no reason for us not to do it.
Yeah, we can make the time to do it.
Right.
And but yeah, I'm surprised. Hey, I'm surprised that only half of our shows even make it past that mark. So hey, dude, shut by us, man.
Yeah.
And then it's even crazier because about half of those shows make it to 50. So like that's your next, like myself included with this episode. I celebrated 25 episodes, but like really that's not a hurdle. It's an important, I think, get, because that's just about 6 months of podcasting if you're doing a weekly show. Sure. And I think that is an important thing to celebrate. But like the next real, if you can maintain something for 50 episodes, almost a year of podcasting, that's huge, and not many people do that. And it's I mean, go through the iTunes podcast directory and just randomly start picking things out. And you'll see, I would willing to bet it would be a 50-50 shot of people that were still doing it, people that were at maybe 6 episodes before they gave up. Because the thing that, as much as I like to say start a podcast, and I don't know if you guys realize this yet, being only a few months into your quote-unquote podcasting career, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more than just coming here and recording for 2 hours a week.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. But it's enjoyable. Again, like if you're looking to make money, there are easier ways to make money, right? I mean, most people, at least I think, like the ones that are looking to do podcasts to make money are kind of going about it the opposite way that we had, in the sense that like those people have an audience already. Like take someone like Corolla, right? Like Corolla had an audience. He went into the podcast world and brought his audience with him and built it from there, right? Whereas like we're nobody, and we're starting with a podcast and trying to build an audience. So it's a totally different opposite tact. But yeah, we're more just about kind of, again, just the process of and just creating the product that we have. And, just doing that, we're getting listeners organically from that. We're getting sponsors organically from that. Just kind of, to quote a phrase, just trusting the process.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys, I guess if you're picking up sponsors, you are paying attention to your listener numbers on a regular basis?
Listen, I'll be honest, we're obsessive about it too.
Yeah, I check every 7 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
We are.
But I mean enough that like just to be mindful of them, so just when you're talking to people and approaching them, you can tell them, what you have, so that you can reliably give them something.
Just little things like we were noticing, like we were looking at we have 15 episodes now, and just like looking at our numbers of which has been downloaded most, and noticing like certain titles appeal to people more than others.
Yeah, just certain classics of topic are probably better than others. Yeah, things like that. So I mean, we're mindful of them. It hasn't changed anything
in terms of content. Nothing in content, right?
Yeah, not at all. If anything, just kind of doing what we've been doing and seeing just the natural growth is just kind of reinforced kind of what we've been doing as far as just kind of organically producing content.
And that's absolutely, like, it took me 8 years to get to that point, like, where it was this show where I was like, I'm not going to care about the numbers, and that's literally when things turned around for me, as far as, it's still not, it doesn't pay bills to do this show.
No.
In fact,
pays for pizza for us.
Yeah.
That's about, we can get you.
And that's, that's even more than what this show has made in 2 years. Typically it's because, and it's not fair to say that it costs a lot of money to maintain this show, because I have a bunch of other side projects that I do that I kind of, like, my hosting fees are about like $200 a year for all the stuff that we have up and running. So it's not fair to put that all on the back of Everything Is Awesome, but I do. Sure. And because it's the thing that I'm really passionate about. It's the thing that I put all my energy into. And I'm the same way. Like, after 8 years of really being obsessive about how do I crack the code to get listeners, and and honestly, like, I've had shows that were super successful and they're not around anymore. Like, I had shows that were downloading, thousands and thousands a week, and I had a show that, like, we used to do a live show for called the Zomcast that would get. We streamed it live. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Stickcam. It was like the YouTube of live streaming before YouTube did live streaming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we did a show. We did the Zomcast, which was a show about The Walking Dead. It was basically Talking Dead before, like, we started before Talking Dead started. I'll say that.
Sue for copyright infringement.
Oh,
do it now. Let's call up Mark Argus and do it, man.
That AMC actually sent me something about copyright infringement.
Yeah. Wow. Gee.
And I don't want to say shut us down, because I still do that show on a much smaller scale. Okay. But, like, that show, at one point, we would do it on Stickcam, and we had 10,000 people in the room for the hour.
Wow.
So, like, I've seen, like, high numbers in my day, and, like, still that this show here, which, the audience that I get, I'm really happy with, and it is... I look at it probably twice a month. I look at it like the 15th and the 30th, just to see and make sure that the month before is a little bit less than what I'm currently at, just so that there's steady growth. Sure. And I think I may find, after a year and a half of doing it, I think I've hit my first month of where it's maybe 50 downloads less than the month before, which kind of grinds my gears, but, like. I'll forget about it when, as I start doing all these Philadelphia Podcast Fest promotions and whatnot.
It's so variable too. I mean, there are listeners that just subscribe and it automatically uploads, and then there are people that probably aren't even aware of how to re-click and re-update their podcast. So,
right.
There's so many things that vary it to really kind of just, hone in on, like you said, just be really focused on numbers like it. It's, like you said, it could be detrimental. I think if you're just making the content and are happy with the content, the listeners will come.
Exactly.
And that right there, that mindset that I hear you guys have, I think is going to make you guys a long lasting podcast, because it's almost the I don't give a fuck kind of mindset.
We have day jobs.
Yeah,
we got other things. I got another thing going.
Yeah.
This medicine thing's not bad. It's cool.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, before, I say it's kind of a sham that I say I've been podcasting for 10 years, because I did take a break when my first kid was born, when my son was born. I took like probably 3 years off.
Okay.
And then I started it back up, honestly, with him. Like, as of this recording, it was the episode that dropped last week. Episode 69 is called Convos with Kiddos. So it's simply because that was the week that I was sick, and I forgot that I didn't record an interview. I wanted to set something up so that I could make a silly joke about it, because I'm 30. I'll be 33, and I still have the mind of a 15-year-old.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'm forever 12 years old. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I ended up like not having anything. So let me look through like all this like extra material that I never aired, and I found 2 years ago maybe 2.5 years ago, I sat down with my kid when he was 3, and we recorded because he loves the fact that I have a mixer and that I have microphones and whatnot, and we sat down and recorded.
With the levels, dude.
No, he always. That's what he wants. And what's nice now?
Of course.
What's nice now is that I have. I downgraded my mixer because I had from back when I started, I had like a 18 channel mixer. I have 2 people on a microphone at most.
Yeah.
So it's so I downgraded my mixer because that one, some of the channels were starting to go bad on the big one and whatnot. So we're gonna put that in his room so that he can play with it.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
But yeah, listening back to that like my son when he was 3, like a completely different kid, I was like, oh, this is gold. Yeah. Like this is just like something that I want to do more and more of. And so I'm absolutely going to record more podcasts with him. But that's kind of what kickstarted it. Was like, well, I miss doing podcasts, so I'm going to go in the shed, which is where my studio is. And I'm going to just, set it back up and see what happens. And my son had an interest in it. And so he would come out with me and help me set things up. And then and to this day, he's like, can we go in the shed and like record? And like right now I'm remodeling it. So I'm like, well, no, not so much. But
it's beautiful.
It is one of the coolest things that I was like, I'm kind of able to share this with my son and hopefully, maybe, do side episodes with him where it's like 5-minute episodes that we do. But
asking random questions, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. And that's something that's actually become like way important to me, like the idea of recording conversations with not just random strangers. I love it. I love talking. The reason I started this show is because my fiance is a school teacher, so after work she doesn't want to talk to anybody, and I sit at a cubicle by myself, so after work I want to talk to all the people. Right. So like I started this show, another reason I did it was because it was a way for me to talk to new and interesting people. And sometimes for my audience it might be a similar conversation because I don't think this is an interview. I think this is just a conversation about our podcasting lives, or if I'm talking about someone that likes wrestling, we'll talk wrestling or whatever it is. So it's
Triple H run for president. Yeah, what do you think? Like,
I want The Rock.
The Rock's already pretty much declared his candidacy, right? But like, if Triple H ran, would him just having the name Triple
running
H,
under the name Triple H, right?
Wouldn't he just get votes?
Yeah.
With that name?
The cerebral assassin.
That's right, man. He's killing you with his mind.
Could you imagine a world where it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Triple H, just like 3 contenders for president?
I can imagine that world.
Yeah, yes. Like, based on the world we're in now, yes. 100%.
I think I can imagine that world. We are not too far from it.
No, well, and I'll tell you what, that's what, and we try not to get too political because, like, you know how that goes.
Yeah, sure.
There's no political about it. It's just a political office. That's all.
But when that picture, I guess when Linda McMahon got sworn in, and the McMahon family was in the Oval Office and getting their picture with the president.
Fantastic.
Did you see the picture floating around with the caption?
Didn't. No, I just came from Connecticut,
but
I'm well aware of Linda McMahon and her. Yeah.
The caption, because it was Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and a bunch of like the McMahon family and their offspring and whatnot, and of course Donald Trump right there in the center. And the caption was, 68% of these people have been hit with a Stone Cold Stunner. ... including the president of the United States.
Exactly. Right. It's great.
And that's when I realized that like we're kind of just like living in a huge giant WWE storyline. Like
this is the best one ever written.
I think my 8-year-old self would be very satisfied.
I feel like the junkyard dog should be involved somehow.
He's dead.
Secretary of the Treasury.
He died last year.
Dude, that's okay. It's all right. We could still we could bring him back. It's all right, dude.
clone him, do something.
Dude, just get a hologram.
Funnily enough, our next episode is going to be top 6 celebrities who may run for office now that the political landscape is a total joke.
That is the entire title.
That's the title for the next episode.
Yes, so we will be discussing some of this and more.
It is, but it does. It opens. It has officially opened the door. Like, we heard Zuckerberg start talking about wanting to run for president, and it's
that's not going to happen.
It's just
forego his fortune, so you have to put all your funds in a theoretically.
Yeah, right.
You have to put your funds in a trust or something. I can see guys like that.
If only there was a way to skip around that.
Oh, but there is, my friend. So, and there's legitimate ways to do it. So, like Hank Paulson under Bush, right? He took Secretary of the Treasury position and got to sell all of his shares in whatever the fuck it was.
Hey, there's some interesting stuff coming out about Obama's stuff.
The bank.
For bank. The investment in the oil fracking.
I mean, listen, you're not taking the job unless you're crooked, right? I mean, that's just the whole point of taking the job, right? I mean, there's a saying, right? The right man for the job never takes the job, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just the way it's going to be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Thankfully, day-to-day life not changing much, right?
No, yeah.
We're still doing our show,
right?
So we're good.
Yeah, and that's like as fired up as I was, like, the night of, and like when it happened, like kind of like the disbelief I was, like, what world was I living in? It was, here we are a few months later, and like, nothing has truly changed. It's still,
right?
It's
Just
now.
I'm
saying that. I am saying that as a white American male. I'm sure that it has affected, maybe not directly, but there's people feel differently that may not be, females, I'm sure, feel differently and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's you know what? So far, all the craziness that has maybe been talked about has not come to fruition. So, right now things are, I don't want to set fire to anything yet.
I mean, ultimately, it just seems like he's just another part of the swamp, right?
Yeah,
he's just another dude taking the job. I mean, he's not. Yeah, he ran on a platform of cleaning it up. In reality, he's just another dude, in the muck.
And really, I mean, anything that's too incredibly crazy, there is, like, believe it or not, there is things that will help protect us from him doing anything too crazy.
Yeah,
like
vaccines.
Stone Cold Stunners.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I just
protect us from measles.
I could imagine a world where Trump tries to do something batshit crazy and just Stone Cold runs in and stuns him.
Yeah, never. I can never see that happen. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's I saw something. I think it was someone that recently followed me on Twitter. I'll have to look. Their header picture is Stone Cold giving Trump a stunner, and I saw it. I was like, I'm
surprised he still allows it to be out there. I'm surprised he hasn't just collected every single copy of that and just deleted and burned them all.
I have no idea. But okay, so moving away from politics.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's move away from that. So, have you guys been?
Are we going to talk about religion now?
I mean, yes. I'm ready. Let's talk about all the different religions. Let's talk about all the hot topic buttons. No, let's talk about. So, have you guys been thinking about? This is something that for me was a huge deal last year. But have you been thinking about the live show and what you're going to do to like appease a live audience?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We were actually going to use the topic that I just mentioned, but we're not going to because we didn't want to incite the audience unnecessarily.
Too contentious. So yeah, we want something actually that's going to be able to get a little more crowd engagement. I mean, most of our topics, are amenable to that, but we want something that will kind of have people shouting with every choice we make, and maybe even bring someone up to kind of have them voice their own picks, and maybe have the two of us do kind of a consensus list, and have kind of the audience provide a list themselves.
Oh, okay.
We're also going to be probably throwing random things into the crowd, random branded items into the crowd.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
I think, probably, if I had to guess, we'll do something with movies.
Yeah.
Everybody has opinion on movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean some of my favorite podcasts are opinionated people about movies.
Yeah, we'll probably. We were thinking movie openings or something like that. Or
okay.
Best endings, maybe.
Maybe 21st century movies.
21st century movies, that'd be a good one.
We've got a few that we're kicking around. Like the queue of lists that we have, we're good for like a year.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a lot. Yeah. So we've definitely got a lot to build on. But we're just still trying to kind of hone in on what we think will really kind of get the crowd going the most. And throwing stress balls at them. I think that's a good idea too. So we're gonna do that all.
Right.
And I'll tell you, like Tattooed Moms, the 3:00 slot on Saturday, what I believe may have been the spot I had last year.
All right.
And it's a good spot.
Nice.
It's a real good spot.
Yeah, because when we're done, it's right to drinking. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
4:00, I'm ready. Let's go.
So now are you guys hanging out the entire day? Are you checking out the festival? The multiple days.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something. Last year, I was able to stick around for the day of that I was there, and this year I'm able to do at least the Friday, Saturday. But I'm also kind of working it, so that's the main reason. But I'm excited to be able to my show is Sunday. It's the 16th.
Oh, right.
At Tattooed Mom. So Saturday for me is really I don't expect to be super busy because I've managed to the shows that I put on. My goal is to do 6 live shows a year.
Oh wow.
So the podcast fest will end up being our 4th one for 2017.
I think that's something I'd be interested in doing more of. I mean, this will be our first one. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think you absolutely should. I think you should absolutely expect the first one to go like a train wreck.
Sure.
And learn from it.
Awesome.
That's what we did is,
it's better than the movie Trainwreck.
Yeah.
That was, did I see that movie?
It's a low bar, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. It's so we took this show, we take it and do a late night television spin to it. So go up there, I stand up, I talk, I have a sidekick, I have 2 guests on the show. The second guest is usually a comedian or a musician. Just do my own little version of what late night is, what I think is good. And for the first one at the 4th annual Podcast Fest in 2016, it was the most awkward first 20 minutes of my life. It felt very unfunny to me. Going back and listening to it when I was editing it together, I was like, it wasn't that bad, but it was still an awkward 20 minutes.
No, sure, man.
And
totally
that's
different experience live, right? Yeah.
And that's something so one of the reasons I brought a sidekick on is I know I can't do that on my own for an hour, even if I have guests up there with me. I can't run that ship on my own,
right?
And that's even with the guy up there with me. That the first time I did it, the first 20 minutes felt very unnatural. I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm not that guy. So it's not a real skill set I have. So and that's something that one of my other good friends who's into podcasting, he's like, your show got good when you sat down and you talked to Mike, who's my co-host on these things. He's like, that's what you need to do is you need to incorporate him in your monologue. That way it's, good. and I'm like, fair enough.
It's tough being a solo act, man. There are very few, even just take radio, right? There are very few kind of stand out straight up solo acts that have been great over the years. I mean, even Stern,
right?
Had Quivers with him to at least kind of bounce off and had a whole gang with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even the greatest in the field, there's a team, with them, right, making it great. Because it's tough. It's tough being a solo act and kind of, being the sole engine,
being there,
talking to yourself for an hour or more.
I mean, we play off of each other all the time.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best parts of our podcast is we just spontaneously ask questions and come up with lists in the middle of the show.
Exactly.
Last week we were talking about breakfast foods, and I said, "Hey, do you eat your cereal with a teaspoon or a tablespoon?" Just
Yeah, it just leads. Yeah, it just goes down a whole other rabbit hole, basically. Yeah, it's just shit like that, man. That's it's hard to get that as a solo act.
Yeah, and you have to be truly an incredibly talented person to be able to pull things off like that by yourself.
We're batshit crazy.
Dan Carlin, Hardcore History.
There you go.
Man, he does like a 4 or 5 hour podcast by himself.
Yeah.
Yes. I have listened to his Genghis Khan series.
That is a great one. Oh,
it's the only one I've listened to. I love it.
Man.
I haven't gone back and listened to anything else he's done. My buddy turned me on to it. I was like, this is good. And oddly enough, like when I'm sitting down in a microphone, like I've done. So like I like to do at my milestone shows 25, 50. I'm going to try to do something for 75. But like I wanted to do something different and special, and I always try to find ways to change the show up a little bit so that it's not just week in and week out the same exact thing.
Right.
So like we interviewed Batman for 25, and he ended up being a guest for 50 as well, because like who gets Batman on their show?
Scientist?
and
He's a scientist. Did you know that?
But what it ends up, because I do it, like I did a dopey little web series as Batman for a little bit. So like I sat in a car talking to myself for 45 minutes to an hour.
Your own questions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Going back talking to me, like going to my Batman voice, and like, which is not good right now because my throat's fucking messed up right now. But and not that my Batman voice is good to begin with. You can go to episode 25 and 50 to listen to it, but it's just silly crap like that. Where
that's rad.
And we had at our last live show, as of the recording, was at Atomic City Comics, and I wanted to do something special there too. So we brought Thor on.
Oh man,
I've heard of him.
But the way we played it off was because the guy we found to do it, who is phenomenal, Joe Gates, a very funny dude, and he didn't have the Marvel Thor gear. He's like, I have like the traditional Norse mythology gear for
that's
him.
awesome.
So I said, what if we bill it as Marvel's Thor, and I just play dumb for like the first 5 minutes of the conversation? Like, I don't understand why Thor from Marvel is dressed like this, and he talks weird and whatnot.
Yeah, Norse god. Yeah,
Nice.
And it went over like crazy. People loved it.
Nice.
And it's just silly things like that. Like for me, doing a show, like I said, doing an interview show, everyone does this. So finding those little things that like just makes me smile, and I hope makes other people smile, is really like what I've grown to like. Try to like. I look forward to that now. Like I start planning like 75
special ones, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I want to do that. Like I want to save this one for something. Like we have a wrestler coming to June 4th. We're doing, or we have done as of this, when this airs. We did a show at Amalgam Comics and Coffee House, and we had Ophidian the Cobra from Chikara Pro Wrestling come in. And I can only assume, because this, timey-wimey stuff makes it so that I don't know what happened, but it actually happened by the time people are listening to this. He showed me what he wants to do, and I was like, oh man, I have not been in a ring for approximately 9 years. This is going to be bad.
Thinking fourth dimensionally here, like Doc says in Back to the Future.
Yes,
right.
yes. That one of my favorite trilogies of all time. In fact, I like to say like every generation has their trilogy, and it's not necessarily a Star Wars related trilogy, though. The rate that we're going, it very well could be. But like for me, like I wore out my VHS copies of Back to the Future when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
I think Back to the Future 3 catches way too much shit, man. Everybody talks about how bad it is. It's really not that bad. It's pretty good.
I think it concludes the trilogy as effectively as any. Listen, better than Godfather 3.
Yes, for sure.
I am see, this is where I lose a lot of cred as being a movie fan, because I like to say I'm a film person, but I've never seen any of the Godfather movies.
Wow, dude. I'll tell you what, I mean, you put it on right now, and we'll just sit there and listen to you watch it.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm in.
All right.
Listen, there's boobs in the first one.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. 70s.
There you go.
70s,
Nice.
Even worse, as someone from the greater Philadelphia area, never seen Rocky.
Wow.
Wow, dude.
Yep.
Wow.
I want to, and it's not because I want to really necessarily watch Rocky. I've never really been into like boxing or like boxing movies.
They're not boxing films.
Yeah, it's not a boxing movie.
And-
Boxing's the backdrop.
Just
of Rocky.
start with Rocky 4, and if you can love that, you can love anything.
Yeah. You seen Raging Bull?
No.
Raging Bull's a boxing
Dude,
movie.
if he hasn't watched Rocky 1 through 5, he has not seen.
What's Scorsese? I don't know. I mean, I thought we were at least going down that road. I don't know, man.
Well, you know what? Creed. I haven't seen Creed yet, but like the trailers for Creed sold me on like, wait a minute, this isn't a boxing movie. This seems like a really good movie.
Yeah.
So it's officially in my queue to watch.
I would say Creed is more of a boxing movie than Rocky.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. But the trailer sold me on it, and I don't know if it's because like I'm in my 30s now, and my obviously my tastes have I don't want to say matured, but maybe like something similar to that.
Shifted. That's all.
It's shifted, yeah. They've shifted because I still like I'm a Marvel head. I love my Marvel movies, my blockbuster movies.
So,
and stuff like
of
that.
all of the iterations of the Punisher on film, tell me the best
Me personally, I love Thomas Jane.
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I mean, he's probably played him the best, I would say. Yeah.
And did you guys see that short, that the bootleg, I think they call it, on YouTube, from I forget the director's name or the producer's name, but it was like maybe a 15-minute short film for the Punisher, and Thomas Jane reprised the role. It's way unofficial.
No.
Way unofficial.
No. Is that for a movie or is that for a Netflix thing or?
It was a YouTube thing. Did you guys like a year or two ago that the Power Rangers short film like set the world, like the internet on fire? Because oh my god, I'll have to look the good guy up and put it in the show notes and send you guys a link to his
rad
YouTube. But so it is I would say that 15-minute little or however long it is Punisher bootleg film that this guy did with Thomas Jane in it reprising the role. It takes like all the best parts of his Punisher movie, which is really Thomas Jane, and all the best parts of Warzone, and kind of puts it into one.
Straight up action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is.
man. I'm just making sure you didn't say Dolph Lundgren. That's all.
No.
I liked the guy from Walking Dead in Daredevil season 2 playing the.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's why I
Yeah.
thought he's getting a spin-off.
Yes,
I thought
yes.
that Netflix was going to do. That's why I was asking if this was related to that.
You know what? It's not related to that at all.
okay.
But that's a good point. I don't know how I forgot about that Punisher, because I really, really enjoyed, not as good as Daredevil season 1, but I really enjoyed that season of Daredevil. Really enjoyed.
Man. I don't even want to go into my disappointment with Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, listen.
Let's not
listen.
go there.
If it ain't Ben Affleck,
Hey,
it
now.
ain't
Okay. So what do you guys think about the Ben Affleck Daredevil?
Oh, that never happened.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I incepted that.
I have no
See,
idea.
it's
I have
funny
nothing to
'cause
speak of.
I don't hate that movie. I get it. I get that it's not a really good movie, but like for me, like, and I guess now that we live in a world of like really good comic book films, maybe I have to adjust this. But at the time, like I had 3 levels of like what comic book movies were, and they were like the top tier at the time were like Spider-Man 1 and 2, X-Men 1 and 2, and then you had your mid-grade ones, which were like Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and then you had Ang Lee's Hulk.
That is very
Generous.
diplomatic of you.
Yeah.
Call Fantastic Four mid-grade.
You didn't enjoy those original ones?
Well, how original are we?
Well, not the ones with Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
No, they're all.
Oh, really? I didn't hate them.
Predate those and go to the 70s, then I'd be like, okay.
Well, there was a Fantastic Four film in the early 90s.
Yeah, exactly. There's an old one.
But my problem with the Daredevil film is Daredevil's actually my favorite character, and I just thought that film strongly betrayed the character.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
I can get that because I've never so my comic book experience is not like I don't really remember what I read as a kid. Like I think it was a lot of X-Men, and maybe a little bit of Spider-Man, and then as an adult it was a lot of like Batman and Walking Dead.
Sure.
So like a lot of these, and like I know like the history of like the big names, but like guys like Daredevil and Punisher, and I don't have like a strong like knowledge of their backstory. So like I kind of get to soak in their cinematic universe counterparts, like just with fresh eyes. Which probably has a lot to do with why like I don't hate those movies.
Sure, yeah,
that's fair.
Of course.
I'm waiting for the Sandman movie. Actually,
Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman, Sandman. Yeah, not the Marvel villain.
Yeah.
Waiting for those. It'll never happen. It'll never be done well. But man, if it could be, it'd be fucking amazing.
So, what did you guys think about Batman versus Superman?
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about. Again.
I just thought it was woeful. Woeful is the right word. I think woeful and sad and just you know what? Listen, I don't think it's asking too much for me to enjoy a film or be entertained.
Yeah.
And furthermore, I don't know how many goddamn more times I need to see origin stories of these characters.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many deep stories for these characters. I was saying a few weeks ago on the podcast, like Spider-Man, for example, right? Like we could do an entire just one film of Gwen Stacy, right? That entire like heartbreaking ordeal. And but no, we feel that like they felt the need of jamming into like one film with like 5 different stories going on.
Yeah. No, and I think like I'm hoping that Homecoming ends up being good. Like
it's getting good pub.
Yeah. It looks, for what I've seen, I like what I'm seeing. I love the fact that Michael Keaton is in it. Like,
right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like that, like just kind of blew my mind when they announced that casting. I was like, oh, I can't believe he's coming back to like this world and whatnot. I don't know. I don't think Marvel has really. I'll tell you what. The only problem Marvel has is that there's so much of it that like now when I don't get a chance to see Doctor Strange in the theater, like it doesn't bother me anymore.
Sure,
like
it's not as special.
Yeah, it's not like when I saw up until Avengers, I had seen every single Marvel film in the theater that had come out at that point, and then once they got into Phase 2, I started like dropping some of them.
Right, and it should be a special event when these films are coming out because you're going into this different world. But when there's a new one coming out literally every other month,
it waters it all down.
Yeah.
And that's so like, and I'll tell you what, so for Batman versus Superman, I went into it so the trailer, I mean, when you're titled Batman versus Superman, I should be sold right from there.
Right.
And the trailer, I saw that, I was like, well, I have no desire to see this movie. Yes. Like, and I didn't. I actually just watched that movie about a week ago.
I watched it a few weeks ago, yeah.
And I watched it on HBO, and because I think my mindset was like, this is gonna be an awful movie. I'm sick. I'm just gonna probably put it on and fall asleep. I actually didn't hate it as much as I thought I was gonna hate it. That doesn't mean like I enjoyed Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman, and I enjoyed Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. That's about it. Like, I was able to watch it and not hate myself afterwards.
Yeah.
I guess is like the positive spin to that movie.
Like just everything I want. I just want entertainment. Like that's how like I see the entire world. Anything that I consume.
Yeah. I mean, in this realm, that's all I'm asking for. Ben Affleck does not entertain me.
No.
I mean, ironically entertains me, but not genuinely. Sadly.
I like Ben Affleck. This is one of our ongoing.
Yeah, we go on about it. But.
See, I'm a Ben Affleck fan as well. Like I enjoy, and it might be because I'm a Kevin Smith fanboy as well. So like
he was good in Dogma.
I loved him in Dogma. I loved him.
Fine, but he's not the best part of Dogma.
He actually is.
No, he's not. Just the unveiling of Buddy Jesus for the first time is the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I haven't seen. I have to pop Dogma in because it's been a while since I think the last time I saw it was. I guess it's been over a year at this point. But when Alan Rickman died is when I popped it in.
But I'm a fucking demon.
It's such. It is. It's such a good movie.
Ben Affleck's good at being a dude from Boston. That's what he's good at because that's what he is, and it doesn't require any acting to do that. That's why The Town is such a good movie.
I
Dude, you need to watch The Town. Do we need to we'll make a list for you.
Yeah.
The top 6 movies that Kev needs to watch.
I think that one, I may have seen it.
You would remember.
You would remember.
Yeah,
it's John Hamm's best film performance. It's Blake Lively's best film performance.
Oh, okay.
Arguably Jeremy Renner's.
Yeah, it's probably Jeremy Renner's best too. And in my mind, it's Affleck's best.
That's tall order.
I know.
You
gotta watch the movie.
I gotta watch. I may have it. Because I know. I mean, obviously it's familiar because it's The Town, but like I feel like that's on my DVD shelf. And maybe it's just not opened yet.
I kind of want to watch it right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. I've wanted to do this. I just don't know the logistics of doing it. But like live commentary over a movie, I just have not found the logistics to do it because it involves probably being in the same room.
Sure.
With people and also like not broadcasting the actual movie.
Right.
So
and you have to have, the thing is like it has to be an ongoing commentary like the entire 100% of the time.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And I've been shut down once by companies.
That's
so
right.
I'm not taking that risk again. So what do you guys see going into the future with your podcast? Is it still developing? Because you're only about 15 weeks in.
World domination.
Yeah, I would say a presidential run.
Yeah,
is probably coming.
Your weekly
up.
top 6.
Yeah, right.
Taking over
co-presidents.
Yeah, we're but no, we've had a few guest spots on the show. I see kind of integrating more of those maybe into the future. Maybe putting other segments into the show itself, kind of doing like quicker shot lists and things like that in episodes. Maybe doing bridge episodes between kind of our main
things
shows.
We regret about our lists, like how we would change it in hindsight.
Yeah, so still room to grow. Still kind of hashing that all out, though, as for kind of what direction we want to go. But there's some of the ideas that we've got.
We probably have some more room to grow in terms of social media and things like that as well. Like, whether we want to do Instagram or focus more on Facebook.
Yeah.
We do Twitter basically at this point.
We're kind of solely a Twitter machine at this point. As far as promoting the show.
It is
ourselves.
Social media is the thing that I have not been able to like. I kind of I think I grasp it with Twitter a little bit. It's. Do you just post the same thing across everything?
Yeah.
Or do you just focus on one?
Well, it's also tough because I find Facebook so repugnant. Like it's just
we're kind of on. We're kind of off of that. Like I think we have a page on there that we haven't touched. After a month into the show, it's more just about where people are that are looking for shows, even to listen to, or and they're just not in those outlets really. There aren't really people on Instagram looking for podcasts really.
No, yeah.
If there's anything, it's really Twitter. If you're to pick one, that's kind of where people are. Even looking for things, and even just other shows that just have their shows on there as well.
And Twitter is just super easy to hop in and out of.
Right.
It's nice. It's almost like the podcasting social media. Like it's the equivalent of the podcast compared to all the other social media outlets out there. I think.
It's the least effort for the most reward. It seems like. Because again, just to engage people in the other outlets as a podcast, it's tough because
a lot more proactive.
Yeah, and people are on there for other reasons, whereas Twitter seems to be more of a big giant universe that encompasses almost anything. Like anything can be a Twitter page almost.
Right.
And you're just kind of throwing your show out into that expanse, and it seems like you just get more back from that than you do the other outlets.
Yeah, and it's I would say I guess the big three are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And though I mean those millennials love their Snapchat, and I still I don't think that's the one. I don't
understand Snapchat.
Yeah,
is that just for naked pictures?
I mean, isn't that all it's for? Is naked pics and vids? I mean,
that's the way it was introduced to the world, but I don't think it is anymore. I listen to Jake and Amir. They're these college humor guys. They started out there, and they have a podcast called "If I Were You," and they're they're millennials. Like the one's my age, so I guess not. But the ones like he just turned 30. Like he's straight up a millennial. Like they kind of and like they really know their audience and like. Snapchat's apparently the place to be, like to like interact with people. It's like
yeah, I guess it probably because you're just quick hitting people with stuff. It's just a matter of kind of getting an initial base of people there that would even give a shit about you first, I guess. But yeah, it's like I said, for us again, we're not bringing an audience to this. We're basically developing an audience from it. And I personally, I have no social media presence as a person myself. I have nothing. So to start from nothing, Twitter has really just kind of been the way we've gone, and it's been decent, to be honest, so far. We've been happy with it.
And Twitter is like the easiest way to grow an audience, I think, because all you have to do is throw a hashtag out there, and if people want to, find something that's based off your hashtag, they'll search that hashtag.
Exactly.
I want to say a year ago, and I do Twitter all wrong. Like I have a Twitter for this show, I have a Twitter for myself. I do not use my show's Twitter at all. I primarily use my own Twitter. I operate social media the way like a Kevin Smith or like an Adam Carolla or someone operates social media, and that's like they focus on their personal Twitter, and then they use like somebody, an intern probably uses their other Twitters, but
right.
So like I'll post, I'll throw out show promotion on the Everything Is Awesome Twitter, but like if you want to interact with me, it's usually happening on my personal Twitter, and I was able to like double the audience in less than a year, by simply using a hashtag. Like that's like. I mean, again,
because you're immediately exposed to a whole new group of people.
Yeah.
They just like the goofy thing you're putting up there. You very well may just have a new listener, and it's that easy.
Exactly.
So I have loved it so far.
All right, guys. Well, I've taken up an hour of your life, and I know that you're on the East Coast.
Hour you could have been watching The Godfather.
The Godfather, Rick and Morty, Rocky.
Yeah, we'll send you a list, man. The Town. Put the Town at the top, man. If you're a big Affleck fan, you need to watch the Town. Yeah, just watch it.
You're absolutely right. That's been on. I swear, I gotta have that on my DVD shelf because it sounds more familiar than just knowing that it's a Ben Affleck movie.
There's a cool shootout.
Yeah. You really have no excuse if that's the case. You own the movie.
I'll have to verify that, and if I don't own it, I'll send something on Twitter. And if I do own it, I will put a sad face next to the DVD box of the disappointment. But thank you guys for doing the show. It's been fun talking to you guys, and I'm really excited to I'm really excited to see what you guys bring to the Philadelphia Podcast Fest.
Thanks, man.
I look forward to meeting you then.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting you. Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited that I get to like see like 2 days worth of shows. It's something that I'm really gung ho for. Tattooed Moms is a great place.
Yes,
it absolutely is.
Not that I think not that I think I'm like a statesman or a forefather of this, because I've only been in one podcast fest, but like from what I hear, from what you guys have talked about your show already and whatnot, I think you guys are going to do great in the Tattooed Moms, and I'm so stoked to see like the next class that kind of come through, because we have a lot of new podcasters, including yourselves, coming through the Podcast Fest this year, the class of 2017, and I'm really excited because Philadelphia, I think, is becoming a big market for podcasters.
It seems to be, yeah. So it's great. It's great to hopefully become a part of it.
And I think you guys should absolutely take what you guys do July 15th and like. If you need to rework it, and that's the big thing I want to like. My goal now is not necessarily about like myself and my show, but like I really want to see live podcasts, because that's a thing in LA. That's a normal thing that happens in LA. It's a normal thing that probably happens in New York, and I think it's a normal thing that happens in Chicago. They're kind of three large podcasting markets, and it does not happen in Philly that often. That I know of. I don't know of many live podcasters. I do my show. I've done it three or four times at this point in 2017, and then like 3 or 4 times in 2016. So I want to see more of it, and that's kind of my goal is like to make sure people know, like, whether they're fellow podcasters or listeners, like, that they're out there and that you should be doing them, and you can easily find venues and stuff to do it at for free.
Right.
So like, I implore you, like, crack your egg, get a float, figure it out at the Podcast Fest, because that's kind of like the big stage for Philly, and nothing like jumping into the water, and then just do it more. I want to see more podcasters doing it out there.
Lady, we look forward to popping our cherries, man. Can't wait, dude.
I am excited that I'll be there. I'm gonna wear a life vest so I don't get anything on me. Maybe a little splatter jacket. All right. So before I let you go, why don't you give out your official plugs that you have, and keep in mind that this will definitely air before the 15th.
Yeah, sure. So the show is your weekly top 6. It's available on iTunes, Google Play. Our Twitter handle is Weekly Top 6. You can also visit us at our webpage at weeklytop6.com. You can email us old school at weeklytop6@gmail.com. And anything else you want to add?
Yeah, basically, I mean, we're on TuneIn Radio. Basically, name the format. You can get our
wherever you find podcasts.
Yeah.
You will find us.
Yep.
Excellent, and you've definitely earned a new fan. I'll probably after I maybe binge some Rick and Morty or something tonight, I will tomorrow. I'm gonna prep my podcast fest day and listen to a couple episodes.
What episode would you tell them to listen to?
Ooh,
fast food items. Top 6
I would
fast
say
food
you
items.
can go our top 6 fast food items. Worst movie sequels.
Worst movie sequels.
Yeah,
oh, that sounds like a good one.
There you go.
I like it.
Dive right in, man.
All right, and for us, you can find Everything Is Awesome on Twitter at Real Awesome Pod. You can find me on Twitter at That Nerdy Kev. You heard it. The Philadelphia Podcast Fest is happening in July. July 14th, things kick off. They continue through the 15th and 16th, and then the following weekend, the 19th through the 22nd, I believe. It's going to be exciting. The weekly top 6 is going to be there. I'm going to be there with Everything Is Awesome. We're going to have full belly laughs there one weekend. Doom Thugs are coming back. Party of One's going to be there. We have some big names like Collier. I don't know. I am a terrible promoter. But we have some big podcasts that you can actually buy and pay tickets for.
The Flophouse.
The Flophouse, yes. Sawbones. And we got this with Mark and Hal. I know it's definitely Hal. I apologize if your name's not Mark, other guy. For Everything Is Awesome. Oh, and my show is going to be July 16th. I always say January. I don't know why. My show will be July 16th at 2 p.m. at Tattooed Moms. So just about 24 hours after you can watch Weekly Top 6, you can come out and watch Everything Is Awesome at Tattooed Moms. For Everything Is Awesome, I'm Kev. You've been listening to us right here on awesomepodcast.com. And, of course, we're part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network on coretemparts.com. We've been awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. To listen to more Core Temp Arts shows, visit coretemparts.com.